Hey you guys, welcome to Young Money Investments, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how to find long-term investments in the stock market. This is probably one of those things that a lot of first-time investors have the question about, and that is, how can I pick a company that will end up riding up slowly but surely over time where I'm not losing my money, right? We all have that question, whether you're new, intermediate, or an advanced investor. You always want to pick the companies that will offer and yield the best return. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my simple strategies that I use in order to consistently profit in my long-term investments and in my long-term portfolio. Let's get it. All right, you guys, so I want to be talking about a couple of my points that I use in order to make a profit in my long-term investment account. Some of the main strategies that I follow is I'm normally investing in blue chip stocks. So that is going to be companies like Apple, Facebook, Tesla, Nvidia, companies with multi-billion-dollar market caps, because they're not going to be as volatile as, let's say, some of the micro cap or the penny stocks that I'm normally shorting. These companies have very sound fundamentals. They're good on paper, and they're not going to get destroyed in a recession, because at the end of the day, right, you do not want to invest in a company that is going to go belly up and die if the market goes down. Second thing that I like to do is I also like to buy companies that are going to have a ability to still be profitable, like I was saying, in a recession. I am very conservative in a lot of ways in my long-term investment portfolio, and that is why I mix and match, right? I have companies that I know will be completely fine, and then I do have some companies that I'm like, it's a little bit more of a spec play, but overall my portfolio is pretty safe and sound when it comes to long-term investment. One of the big things I look for, whether it is a good economy or whether it is a bad economy and we're going through a recession or a pullback, is I look for companies that are being beat up in the news. What I mean by that is there's always companies that have been very good or performed really well for years, and then the media kind of turns against them. One of the companies that I can think of right now is Facebook. They went through quite a media backlash, and they're still battling that right now. When it comes to the elections meddling and those kinds of things, they're saying that they sell too much data, there's privacy issues, etc., etc. Facebook took a dump. I believe the stock was all the way up at $218 less than a year ago, and then it dove all the way to $123.02. We are currently sitting around $201. So the question always becomes, how do you buy these companies at $123? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that looking at Facebook right now. All right, you guys, so taking a look at Facebook, this is a great example of a company that, again, had a high all the way up here of $218, sold off all the way down here to $123, and then since December has risen roughly a total of about 65%. That is a massive, massive return, especially for a company like Facebook that is one of the largest. So like I said, it had a lot of bad news coupled with the fact that we were going through a large correction in the market. And then things started to get better and started to come up. It did well at earnings. It did well at earnings again. And it continues and has continued into this coming earnings call that's going to be happening here in August, to continue its trend up. And it's been here in this little channel pattern, where we are currently sitting right around $200. The thing is with companies like this, if I am investing long term and I find a buying opportunity like this, I'm looking at a couple of key factors. I'm looking at the fact when I look at Facebook, and the reason I bought Facebook as it pulled back was because there was very little relative competition in its space. That's rule number one. Rule number two was it had quite a bit of cash on the balance sheet. There really was very little overhead in terms of what Facebook has to pay for. They are generating an obscene amount of revenue because besides Facebook, Google is really one of the only other big advertising platforms out there that can monetize ad space in order to make more revenue. I mean, Facebook is doing very well. There is no other website on the planet that gets as many viewers or or traffic as Facebook does. And so Facebook marketing does very well at generating a ton of profit. Another great one that we can take a look at is going to be none other than Apple. So ticker symbol AAPL, we can see over here again at highs, it was at about $233, all the way down here to lows of 142. And then since then, coming out from December, we've seen it reach highs of 212. We saw a pullback in the market again, coming down here to 171, and then coming up here to about $200 and kind of getting caught in this channel pattern. Now, the interesting thing with Apple again is it's been in part partially due to the market conditions, right? It pulls back when the market pulls back. Apple's cap is huge, and so it does play a role. When Apple sells off, the whole overall markets do tend to sell off. The problem with this though, and this is what I find interesting with Apple, is that the fundamentals on Apple really aren't changing. People will go, oh, people aren't buying as many iPhones, people aren't blah, 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 but you need to understand the fundamentals of every specific company. The thing with Apple again, is Apple's not just a hardware company, they are a software, cloud computing company, they have cloud storage, they have a lot of things that they are selling on their digital marketplace that's continuing to get popular over time. So this is something again that you need to understand as a long-term investor, is you need to understand the fundamentals of the company. You need to understand the direction that the board is taking the company, because if you are going to be invested again long-term, you're investing for at least a year, if not more, you need to understand where they're going with their products, with their development. You need to make sure that those things are important, not what CNBC or what ABC or what any of these news media outlets are saying about the company. And that brings me to my fourth point, and that is do not get dissuaded by what the media is saying about the company. Now, this third and final company that I'm going to be talking about is one that we always talk about on this channel, and that is Tesla. So the two companies that we've recently just talked about were Facebook and Apple. They both have gone through their cyclical cycle and recovered from their previous issues that they've had. This is actually going to be a company that has not yet recovered from its issues. And a few months down the road, hopefully I will be sitting here singing praises because I have been able to make a decent amount of money on Tesla. So let's take a look at the charts. Again, Tesla I like as a long-term investment because I see the value in their renewable energies, in their cars, in the markets, basically consumer market, people going from gasoline powered vehicles to electric vehicles. They have a big advantage over a lot of these other auto manufacturers. And so I see a lot of potential in Tesla for the long term. Now again, Tesla has had a major sell-off over the past 6 months. This is the year chart for Tesla. And as you can see, we've recently hit lows after their earnings call right here, all the way down to lows of $176. There were big companies like JP Morgan that were saying that Tesla would be going all the way to I forget what it exactly was. It was like $158 or $156 a share. There was even some people that were saying that Tesla, guys, they were saying Tesla should go to $10 a share. Like, what? Like, it blows my mind. But this is the reality of things, guys, is anytime that the media is really pushing this stock down, oftentimes it's a buying opportunity, especially when the markets are doing well, because this is an opportunity for some of the big guys to pick up the stocks and then they pick them up at a cheaper price and push it up, and then the retail traders are the ones that start to buy in, and they basically don't get the best prices and they get screwed, and the big companies end up making all the money. So that's usually a lesson 101 for what banks end up doing. But this is the thing when you invest in Tesla long term, is you have to understand again the fundamentals of the company. You have to understand the CEO. And so one of the big things for me with Tesla was you have to understand that Elon Musk, I believe, is a visionary. He has a lot of high hopes, high dreams, and sees the vision of electrification in the automotive world. On top of that, there is the renewable energy sources. There's solar panels. There is the electric battery. There's the battery packs that Elon wants to do so that these homes can also be using renewable energy sources. There is so much benefit in these things, not to mention the fact that the demand, like the news is always saying, there is no demand, blah, 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 blah. You need to understand that there is. You need to be able to actually read those fundamentals when earnings reports when they come out, and that way then you can understand the data and go, okay, I can be focused. I can really not be dissuaded from investing in this company because of the things I'm hearing. You have to be able to block it out. If you can block it out, that is what will make you a profitable and successful investor for the long run. So if you've made it through this video, you have found my one recommendation for a good long-term investment, and that is going to be Tesla, and you will be able to most likely be able to see it kind of do these rebounds just like Facebook and just like Apple has done time and time again. If you have any other questions, leave them down in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button, please. Turn that bell notification on if you have not already. Hit that like button, that'll help me out. And I will catch you guys in the next video. If you like this long-term investing video, leave me a comment down there. If there's companies you're investing in long-term, let me know that too, and I will talk to you in the next one. Catch you guys later. Bye.